Alright, so I just got done watching The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 5. I believe it's called Out of the Fire. So this episode was actually pretty good, much better than the last episode. I don't think I really have any complaints in here other than the usual. We're missing big characters for the story, and you can feel it. I think I'm starting to feel it more now. Maybe it's because like Rick and Michonne and that have been gone for so long. Or I think it also leans more towards the Whisper storyline was so awesome and so big, whereas a lot of this story just, other than the Commonwealth stuff, maybe it's just because I'm such a fan of the comic, but feels kind of non-essential. But for the Whisper story, the villains and that itself was on such a big scope, it was like I don't even notice the absence of Rick because all of this is so cool, even though imagine if he was in it and it was, just that much more, propelled. But anyway, this episode, for what they have, it was good. It was fun, and there is a lot of stuff I like about it. Like I said, I don't think I really had many, if any, complaints at all. So let's get into it. The opening scene with Aaron and his dream sequence was cool. I've seen, of course, final seasons do things like this, Teen Wolf in particular, if anyone's seen that, but where he's dreaming about all the villains that he's faced, which was cool to have them all there, and they're different. So you get the Whisper. You get a Savior, which the Savior to me looked like a Reaper because he had like a beanie on. I'm pretty sure it was dark, but the only thing that told me that it was a Savior and not a Reaper, because I'm not even sure if Aaron really knows about the Reapers. But he was doing the Whisper, the Savior whistling. So it was a Savior, and then who else do we have? Oh, the Wolf. I believe that was the actual actor who played a wolf, iconic wolf back then. I remember his face. So it's cool that they got the actual wolf actor back. Those were really cool villains. I like that. And then you see a little flash where he wakes up of Robert Patrick. Man, it just makes me so sad that they didn't keep that actor around because he was great. I guess Aaron's regretting that too. He's like, man, I shouldn't have killed that guy. And it's like, yeah, you really shouldn't. And they had a second time, of course, to keep Robert Patrick around with the twin, and they killed off the twin too. It sucks because he would have been an awesome addition to the cast. Maybe he's too expensive. I don't know. But anyway. I like in the opening scene too, when Jerry's walking through the house, you see him taking a pee, right? Because Jerry's always doing comedic, funny stuff. But he's stepping over people because everybody has to all sleep in one house. And I just like that they actually show you that. And they're building on, more and more of the desperation of Alexandria, where they need to get to the Commonwealth or somewhere safe because they're on their last leg, right? They're all sharing the floor together. At this point. So yeah, it's really, really gone far down. But it's kind of like everything else. I'll talk about it later on in this. I got my notes I'm reading off of. But the Negan and Maggie stuff feels kind of drug out at this point. The whole Alexandria, they're starving, feels kind of drug out. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that we're not kind of blowing through stuff like in a season, maybe like season 3 or something. But this is almost having the opposite effect where it's like, okay, this is kind of getting drug out. I've said before, like, maybe this final season would have been better if it was instead of 3 parts, just 2 parts. But of course, whenever the whole season's over and, in like 2 years from now when I'm not having any Walking Dead, I'm going to be like, oh no, I wish they had drug it out to like, 4 or 5 parts, because I'm really going to miss it whenever it's gone. So let's see. And I like the scene too whenever they're lifting up the wall and the walkers, of course they don't care. So they're just trying to walk up the wall to Alexandria that's fallen when the walkers break in. But Aaron, whenever the walker comes through and it has its head peeking through, I swore, because Aaron's missing a hand, I swore that they were going to do something where they close the walker and the walker's hand just breaks off in between the wall, and Aaron picks up the hand and kind of looks at it like kind of sad. I guess it would have been too funny. But just kind of symbolism there. Aaron's missing a hand, the walker misses a hand. It would have been too stupid, but no, he comes in and gets it with a sledgehammer, which was a nice, solid kill. They had a few in the start. And then we break into the Commonwealth, the 90s tape thing. I've said it before in the trailer reaction. I like the look of the 90s tape and everything. It's just so silly. And I really like the whole Commonwealth overall. I've said it before in videos, but, just the whole concept of whenever the apocalypse happens and the class system and everything, the money, all that stuff breaks down and doesn't matter. They're suddenly making that matter again. And to them, it's not really too strange because they've pretty much not really had a break in their society because it seems like this place was set up from the start. So all this money stuff and class and jobs and all that stuff is normal to them. They've been doing that, the whole time. They didn't really have an apocalypse. So it's just so drastic. I mean, it was like that whenever our group entered Alexandria way back when, but it's like that even more now to have the money take effect and actual. I mean, we had jobs in Alexandria, but this is just a little bit different in some ways. So, of course, the seasons have kind of been more repetitive in some ways, but still, it's such a cool concept. Anyway, they seem to know who Pamela Anderson is. Whenever they see her name at the end of the tape, I like that too because she was a political figure or something like that. We'll get to find out. I don't know if we'll see her in this half of the season, probably in the second half for sure, but I don't know if we'll get introduced to her just yet because we're just now getting to know Lance and seeing stuff from him as well. But yeah, so it makes sense that they would know him. Did they all get $2 bills, or was Princess just the only one who got the $2 bill because it was from Mercer, making sure she got that $2 bill back? Because I swore Eugene opened up his money and he had a $2 bill too. So it makes me wonder, man, Princess must have had something very specific with her $2 bill to know that it was her $2 bill. I mean, I believe that it was, and Mercer did that for her. But like I said, I think they all got $2 bills, which maybe that's just the start. $2 bills are supposed to be good luck, so it's like, here, good luck, make your way with this and see how you do. Lots of funny, speaking of Princess, lots of funny dialogue with her this episode. I mean, every episode, but yeah, they're really killing it with her, especially compared to the comics where she was kind of annoying. But she tells Yumiko, she's like, oh, it must be because of your accent. It's a lot how the actress sells the lines, too, the actress. But she's like, oh, you must have special privileges with your special letter. It must be because of your accent. It's so fancy. Something like that. Let's see. Of course, you get the look. It's nice to see how our survivors, specifically like Yumiko, I noticed whenever she was talking to the lawyer guy at the desk. You had this whenever they first entered Alexandria for the first time, but you notice how dirty our survivors look in comparison to everybody else who's all cleaned up. Of course, you don't really notice because you're used to seeing them like that, but then you see them next to regular cleaned up people, and you're like, yeah, Yumiko, your hair kind of looks like shit, So it's just a nice, new detail there. And then let's see. Alexandria, they're talking about how they're running low on food already because they just killed a horse. It's like, did you already? It seems like only like maybe a day or two has passed, maybe since the last time we were with Alexandria, if that. You guys already, you guys, I in my head, I think they only probably have like maybe 40 people there, max. So it's like, you guys already ate a whole horse. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would last you a long time because people have like pigs and stuff and whole pigs that like roast and or barbecues, and that takes you a long time to go through. So. And they have the whole expression, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, because I would think it'd take you a long time. I mean, they said they had saved some, but anyway, it's just a side note. They're reintroducing the fact, yeah, we're starving. Don't forget we're starving. We're on our last leg. Yeah, we know. We've heard it for a while now, but, okay, it's fine. It's just getting a little bit to the point where, okay, move on from this, right? Maggie's knife throw at Negan, God, okay, this was a negative. I hated this. This was stupid. She throws the knife directly past Negan's face. Of course, she's not really going to care too much. Oh, if I hit him by accident, it's whatever, of course, because it's Maggie and Negan. She fucking hates him. But still, the fact that she threw that knife so far. I've never thrown knives before. Of course, not at a human skull. But, yeah, she's so accurate with it. Right past his head. Daryl, same problem with him. It's just a little ridiculous, but it's just okay. But you got to watch reeling this stuff in. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some shit like Fear the Walking Dead, which was absolutely ridiculous whenever... John Dorie, I'll never fucking forget. This was just like, if anybody quit watching the show at this point, I get it, but John Dorie shoots a bullet, it hits the axe, splits between the axe, and I'm just thinking, did I remember this wrong? Because no fucking way this happened. Splits between the axe and kills 2 zombies next to Dwight. I believe that he could shoot the axe and split the bullet because it was his job before, but to also split it so it hits both zombies in the head, fuck off with that. So you gotta complain about this shit whenever it gets a little bit too out there. Otherwise, they'll keep doing it and it'll turn into something like ridiculous as that. So yeah, that was a negative for me. Seeing the hilltop again destroyed was cool and nostalgic. Of course, it makes you sad to see it in its current state, thinking back to seasons 7 and 8 when everything was fine there, and 6 as well. And yeah, it's cool to see it though all destroyed. I don't remember if we have yet already. It's cool that they kept the set destroyed. So we could see it. Who the hell was Troy? Everybody was sad about Troy. Maybe he was a character that I just don't fucking remember. But I thought it was funny how they name drop, oh, it's Troy. And I'm just like, okay, it's fucking Troy. Who the fuck is Troy? Yeah, and then I like Jerry's actor. I can't remember his name, but I liked whenever he was killing the zombies that were people that he knew. Because he plays it really well. He kind of looks down and can't look them in the eye. Just a nice little detail Maybe some of the directing and stuff from that let him know to do that, which was nice. And then we see Judith with a getting bullied storyline here. I feel like we've already kind of got this, but maybe not, because Carl was supposed to take this storyline. If you go by the comics, during the Whisper War storyline. But of course, we've had stuff like this before. It's so similar where, Carl's getting bullied. Maybe Judith was getting bullied. Some kids getting bullied storyline. But of course, it is cool to see her kind of, I don't know, take more of a leadership role. You can see, of course, traits that you want to see, that you see in maybe Rick, Shane, Michonne, Lori, all her past people, But I don't know. It was kind of repetitive, but at least we got some callbacks to Carl and Rick and that, just a little bit in it. So, yeah, anyway. And again, I said this before, it's on my notes, Maggie and Negan's whole back and forth is getting repetitive, kind of repetitive dialogue, just in different scenarios. But I do like both of the actors, so it's just fine. Anyway, Yumiko taking Michonne's storyline from the comic, wherever she has somebody from the Commonwealth, and she goes into the bakery, and like I said, in the comic it would have been Michonne's daughter, but in the show it's Yumiko's brother. And I'm fine with that, because Michonne didn't have a daughter in the TV show. She had a son, and he passed away. So it doesn't really bother me. I just want to put in there that Yumiko is taking the storyline. Even if Michonne was still on the show, maybe Yumiko would still take it anyway. I like another little attention to detail. Yumiko's actress in the Yumiko in the bakery. She kind of walks in and she takes in the smell of the cake, because of course you would appreciate little details like that. If you haven't smelled a fresh baked cake in a while, or all the sweets that they had in there, she just kind of has a moment to take it in, and I like that. And then her brother drops the cake. I was like, man, that's horrible, in an apocalyptic situation where I assume this stuff is, maybe not rationed as much in the Commonwealth, but still kind of rationed. But of course you can't help it. It's just being dumb, but I'm just being dumb. But he dropped the cake. It's like, man, what a waste. I would still pick it up. I eat it off the floor, right? Just because, it's a fucking fresh baked cake in the apocalypse. Can't waste it. So I love Lydia. She notices the Whisperers herding, going in a circle. And I kind of noticed it too. I thought it was weird the way they were walking around, and she's like, wait. So I'm glad they pay attention to detail. Yeah, she's the one who's going to notice that. Crazy seeing the ice cream truck. Now this is weird. What's going on with the Stephanie? I've seen like videos of people talking about it. And I'm like, oh no, you're being weird about it. About the black Stephanie and the white Stephanie. Now in the comic, I did notice this back in the day. A few years ago. It seemed like Stephanie was black, and then she was white. So was she just drawn incorrectly? Was there some type of shading that I didn't notice? But they seem to play off of that at the ice cream truck to the audience, because there's a girl who looks like Stephanie, except she's black. She's black, but she's got the glasses. And then you got the white Stephanie too. So yeah, it's just it's so strange. I don't know. It's just a nod to us, because there was a mistake in the comic book maybe. I don't know if anybody's ever officially said, yeah, we messed up in the comic. Drew her black once, and we drew her white. We completely forgot. I don't know. But yeah. So let's see. I feel like the white Stephanie, though, for Eugene, she's a little bit too bubbly. She doesn't really have the nerdy side that I think regular Stephanie, maybe that black Stephanie will come back, or I don't even think her name's Stephanie, though. I'm sure it's not. But she seems a little bit too bubbly. She doesn't seem nerdy enough for the comic Stephanie, because the comic Stephanie, spoilers, Eugene and comic Stephanie build a railroad together, so she's like really intelligent, I think, as well. Maybe I'm remembering it correctly, but she just doesn't really fit enough to the nerdy role for me. The only nerdy thing about her is the fucking glasses, right? At least that's for right now. Oh, and they had a horse strapped to the back of the ice cream truck. And a horse pull a whole fucking ice cream truck? That feels like a lot of weight for just one horse to pull. But I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Princess, more funny stuff. Eugene hands her the ice cream cone, and she just looks at it and she's like, oh, it takes a bite. She's like, oh, wow. Just funny stuff with Princess again. So, yeah, Rosita had a very nice scene with Judith after Carl's hand painting thing that they did way back when. I'm glad they brought that up back into the story. It got broke, and Rosita talks a little bit about Rick and Carl, like I said, which is nice. And Rosita has a funny line in here. She's like, oh, I never had a dad growing up. And I'm like, no shit. I didn't have to hear your backstory to know you didn't have a dad growing up. Whenever we first met you, and even still now, you're with like a 50-year-old guy, a guy that's like 30, 40 years older than you, or maybe 30 years, I don't know. But she's always with older men since the start of the series. So it's like, and kind of just floating about. So it's like, yeah, I know. I know you didn't have a dad growing up, Rosita. I know already. And then but it was a nice softer scene for Rosita because we've always had so many hard ass scenes with her in the past where it's kind of hard for her to be likable, but she was likable in this moment with Judith. I thought the only thing I really wanted to top it off, but they didn't do it. I wanted her to give Judith a hug or for Judith to hug her or something like that. I think it would have been fine. But of course, the kids in The Walking Dead are very matured up where maybe they don't need hugs, right? They don't have parents around to give them hugs. That's why I feel bad for Judith. I'm glad they acknowledged that too. She doesn't have a fucking dad. She doesn't have Carl anymore. Her mom left her. All she has is RJ. I'm glad they keep bringing that up, how shitty it is that Judith is just alone. I mean, of course, Rick didn't leave by choice or Carl, but Michonne, yeah, it's kind of shitty how she just left her. But, of course, they just had to write it that way because the actress wanted out. Hopefully she'll show up in the Rick movies. Anyway, so it was nice having a remaining Whisperer storyline, though, because, of course, it's kind of hard to believe that they would have all just been wiped out. Of course, there was more than likely going to be some stragglers. Let's see. I understand why. So Yumiko's brother is the baker, and I thought it was strange that he isn't the surgeon, like he's supposed to be. But the reason they're doing it like this is to show how the Commonwealth can be kind of hard and why they need some change to where if they found out he was a surgeon, they wouldn't care if he wanted to be a baker. They would force him to be a surgeon, right? As Yumiko's going to find out, they're probably going to force her to be a lawyer because it's a high-status job that they need. And even if Yumiko doesn't really end up wanting to do it, well, you're going to do it anyway, that kind of thing. So that's why he wants to be a baker instead of a surgeon. We need this desperately. We need an outer shot of the Commonwealth. I don't know if we'll get it because of how, I don't know where they're filming it, if it's in a studio or, just the budget or COVID, whatever it is. But we need an outer shot of an aerial view of them going up to the Commonwealth. What is this entrance looking like? Hopefully we'll get it at some point. But right now it very much feels like it feels like we're on an old set, maybe from like Terminus, a little bit in some places, at least for the outside parts. Or it just feels like it's on a set, very closed in. We need to be able to see the sky in some shots. It feels so boxed in. So we need that desperately. Hopefully we'll get it later on. But with COVID and stuff, I'm worried that we won't. They're doing an okay job with filling out the people too. I mean, but again, I don't feel like there's any more amount of people in this community, not really, than maybe something like Woodbury, So we just need more people and scope, but I'm just not sure if we'll get it. So let's see. Princess's shot. They're just doing so much comedic stuff with her. Her face in the glass whenever it's all distorted because of the glass pane. And I love this scene between her and Mercer, and it seemed like Angela Kang in the after stuff, she really enjoyed writing it as well. The dialogue where Princess commenting on Mercer's like muscles, and she thanks him for the $2 bill that he, I guess, got back to her, so they will probably build up a relationship between them like in the comics. And then this is really funny. She says, you have beautiful eyelashes. And Mercer just kind of blinks and just looks like, what the fuck, pulled up something on my recording by accident. Okay, and then, so yeah, that was hilarious. Walker torture scene with Aaron was brutal, where he's holding the walker up and letting it bite the Whisperer who was tied up. Yeah, super dark. I like it. I liked it a lot. And it makes sense. I'm glad that they made a reason for Jerry to go along with it, because the Whisperer had Nebula's scarf, because otherwise you wouldn't really expect Jerry to go along with something like this. And then I like the dialogue between Carol and Aaron as well here, because Angela Kang said it makes sense for her to be the one to reel him back in, because she's been outside of the bounds of what she should have been before. And it didn't feel, again, I really love the dialogue that Angela Kang does versus Scott Gimple, or however, because it just felt natural. She was like, listen, I've been there, back when Henry died, and this isn't a road you want to go down. Instead of saying like, listen, we can't become those people. Once we become those people, we're never going to come back from that again. It has to be about more than that now. Like some dialogue that you probably would have heard in previous seasons, but no, it was fine here. Cut to the chase. I like the Whisperer's face. I like the actor who played the Whisperer, the scared. He was scared Whisperer. He was like, whenever Aaron hands him the knife, he's like, here, you cut off your own hands or I'll do it for you to get the infected bite off. And the Whisperer was just like, what? Like, really? Because what kind of choice is that, So anyway, and then we see So this scene between Maggie and Negan. Oh wait, I skipped a little bit in my notes. I like how Mercer kicks the door down whenever they're using the radio to get in contact with Alexandria, and you're under arrest. That was cool. So this scene with Maggie and Negan was very, very fucking strange, I think. Of course, it's not meant to come off like this, but it just did to me, and I think it would to other people too. I felt like Maggie and Negan were having like a sexual attraction whenever they're pushing each other, because it's stupid. They're just shoving each other, and I'm thinking, Maggie, what are you thinking? I mean, Negan's very skinny. He doesn't have much muscle, but still, he's a huge guy. He's really tall, and I'm just like, what are you thinking? Just pushing him around? What do you think you're gonna do by doing this? It's so weird. It's like it was like a building a sexual tension thing, and Negan kind of pushes her back, and then they just stare at each other. It was very strange. It felt like they were about to kiss, honestly. Maybe that was just me, but I don't think so. I think that whole pushing thing should have been, just don't do the whole shoving. It was stupid. But anyway, Gabe comes in, so I'm glad that I didn't realize the character we were waiting on was Gabriel. At the other point, I was on Negan's side. I was like, yeah, go on, fuck it, whatever. But now that I see we were waiting on Gabriel, I'm like, okay, I'm glad we waited. I like Gabe, but if it was just a miscellaneous character, I'm like, whatever. I like Princess's line where she's like, whenever Lance comes in and Ezekiel's like, was that the guy? And Princess is like, oh yeah, it's the cheesy video guy, because that's what it is to the audience. He's a cheesy video guy. So I just like how she said it like that. So then the Whisperer at the end, he's talking about seeing Connie come out of the cave, and I'm just like, I don't remember, but couldn't it have been Magna that he saw too? Because didn't Magna come out of the cave the same way, maybe? I don't know. So it just feels weird that they automatically assumed it was Connie, like they're so sure of it. I wish there had been a line where he was like, the black girl coming out of the cave or something like that, described her a little bit better to where we could be for sure it was her. It just felt a little bit loose. But I don't know, maybe not. Maybe Magna didn't come out of the cave like that. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm sure that Carol is going to go ahead in the next episode. We see her. She's not going to wait. Carol's just going to go by herself looking for Connie, because we do see Connie in the next episode. Looks pretty creepy, some of the shots that we get in that. And then all the Whisperers, they come back to the guy at the end. You see him. I thought they had ran off, but they're all just waiting, I guess. It feels a little bit too much like of a threat to leave out there, I feel, like the amount of Whisperers that they left. I mean, that's just me. I of course, I wouldn't want to brutally kill them either. I don't know. But it still feels unsafe leaving that many Whisperers just kind of herding back together that we see. And I think Aaron's thinking that as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Little side note, Greg Nicotero directed this episode. So yeah, he's really big in The Walking Dead. He does all the special effects and makeup for this and other things, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it's pretty cool that he directed this one. He's directed some great ones in the past, I do believe. Just a little side note too, I got here. Angela Kane compares Judith and Rosita's scene to Carl and Rick's scene in the barn back in season 2. Whenever he's like, yeah, mom's gonna die and all that, that line. And I was like, no, don't compare that to that. No, I mean, it was a fine scene, but it wasn't on that level. All right, let's relax. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Overall, I'm wondering, how are they going to reunite everybody? We have so many loose ends out there where I want them all, of course, to end up at the Commonwealth. But even so, I'm remembering at the end of the comic book, they don't have everybody reunited at the Commonwealth up until like the time skip at the very end. So maybe they won't all go to the Commonwealth, but still, we have so many loose ends out there. We got Connie, we got Alden, we got Gabe and Maggie are out there, Negan. Then we got Carol's about to go out there looking. We got Daryl out there. We got the group at the Commonwealth. The people back at Alexandria. We got so many people spread out. It's like, how are they going to come together at a certain point? We'll see. But yeah, this isn't a prediction video for the future, although I would like to speculate on some things that I hope we get to happen from the comic book, with what we got, with the characters that we got left anyway. How's it all going to go down? And of course, the spinoffs and stuff that we got pending too, and in the movies, it's just, oh man, how are they going to wrap all this up? I don't know. But overall, this episode was pretty good. Like I said, not too many complaints. I'd have to give it probably an 8 out of 10. So yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.